Hi guys, so I finally am making a second video for this week, which is an accomplishment I think, but it's probably the fact that I only have one exam left. If I sound a bit stuffy, then it's because I have a cold. I feel like in every single video that I do for every month, there is always 2 or 3 videos where I'm like, I have a cold guys, I'm sorry. I just have a weak immune system and I can't do anything about it. It kills me all the time, especially around the exam period and whatnot. But today's video is not about me complaining about my cold. Today I'm actually going to be doing a series review, and this series review is going to be on the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series by Rick Riordan or Rick Riordan. I still have no idea how to pronounce his surname, and this is a series of 5 books. The first one is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Second is Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth. And lastly, Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian. Ooh, if I can fit it all here, I think we're good. So that's that. And I recently just finished this series, probably last week. I read it for the year-thon, readathon, and then for just the rest of the week after. I went into this series because I really enjoyed the movies that I watched. I watched the first 2 adaptations, and I've heard that the movie adaptations are terrible, but I really enjoyed it. I have a great interest in Greek mythology in general, though. Like, I love learning about the gods, and, you know, how they built the world and which god is which. So, like, I love all of that, and I figured, you know, if I really liked the movies, I'd better start reading the series, because if the movie is considered bad, then the series would be much better to read. Basically, the series revolves around Percy Jackson, and I don't know how much I can review for you guys, but he's always been this troubled teenager growing up. He has moved schools constantly because he keeps getting expelled for reasons he doesn't know why. He suffers from dyslexia, there we go, and ADHD, so he has trouble concentrating on things, and one day he's at his school. So basically he's about to be kicked out from his latest school, and he finds out that his best friend isn't actually a human, and that his teacher isn't actually human either, and that he finds himself amongst like this sort of problem that has arisen amongst the Greek gods, and he learns that he's actually a demigod, so he's half a god and half human, and that his father is probably very powerful, but he doesn't know who it is yet, and you find out in the first book. I think a lot of people know who his father is already, but for people who don't, just read the first book. From then on, he, you know, embarks on many other adventures that makes him become the hero that he is. It's essentially a reflection of, you know, mythology about gods about heroes back then, so about Perseus or Heracles. Yeah, I was gonna call him Hercules. Anyways, Heracles, you know, Odysseus, all of that. So this is sort of like a modern day take on it. I loved it. I loved every moment of it. I found that it was very easy to read because it's a model. I cannot speak today. Blah, blah. It is a middle grade series, so the writing is very easy to read, and I read it during the time when I was studying, which helped a lot because it really helped me relax. But I didn't also have to, you know, require so much effort to read it. I flew right through them all, and I was caught up in all of the adventure because they are quite fast-paced, especially when it comes to, you know, the tense moments of the adventures, when you've hit the climax and you start to wonder what's really going to happen next. I would say for the first 2, I wasn't really that interested in reading it, probably because I've watched the movies already. In comparison, the movie does make a lot of changes, which really confuses me. I don't know why. As the series progresses, it gets a lot better once you get through to the final books, and by the final moment when he finished, I hadn't realised how much I had grown attached to the world and to the characters. I was left feeling so devastated that I actually finished the series because I really wanted more of Percy Jackson and his friends, and it made me really want to read Rick Riordan's other series, the Heroes of Olympus, and it also follows Percy Jackson, but it also incorporates Roman heroes into it as well. And I really wanted to read that right after I finished the series because of how much I loved the world in it. I loved Rick Riordan's world building skills. I love that he's situated Mount Olympus and the entire, you know, Greek god sort of kingdom in New York, because, and the explanation is because, you know, the population there is bigger, so then the Greek gods have to move there, yada yada yada. But I thought it was great incorporation, and the fact that it's in our everyday life, but, you know, people don't really realize, which is very creative. And I also loved that the characters were really likable, especially Percy Jackson and his friends. So his friends are Annabeth, Grover, a couple of other people, like a couple of other demigods that he meets when he goes to Camp Half-Blood. I just loved them all. I think once you read the series, like, as a whole, you grow attached because you come to realize that they've grown so much, that they've you know, matured over the time that they've spent together, that they've gone all these quests together, and you feel proud of them for making the decisions that they've made, for getting as far as they have, and, you know, sacrifices here and there, you know, for genuinely being such a relatable character as well, because as much as they are heroes, they also suffer from all the problems that we do as we grow up, and I really liked that. And I think that's probably the main two reasons why I really love this series, and the fact that the characters were really great and the world building was amazing. My favourite one is a toss-up between the Battle of the Labyrinth and The Last Olympian, the last two books, because I think there was a lot that was done in there. A lot of character development, especially for the final books. You get to learn a lot more about say Annabeth and the relationship between her and Luke, which is also another demigod in there, and it's just so fascinating to see how much their upbringing has affected them, and how much, you know, relationships can mean to a person, and that you should do things so that you don't regret them at the end. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people sort of question what they do, or that they take the wrong turn and then at the end they regret it and it's too late by then. So, you know, and I got to know, like, I got to understand a lot more about the importance of friendship, of family, and just how important your parents are, sort of thing. I really enjoyed every single quest that they went through as well. As you can see, the title give hints to what they're going to do in the book, but each one was really sort of fascinating, and it leads up to the final moment, or the final battle, which is this one. And I think that's the reason why I'm going to give this series a 5 out of 5. Just because I purely really enjoyed it. I can see myself going back to reread this series. That's how much I really liked it. And also because of how attached I became to this series. I really need to get my hand on the new series so I can read more about Percy and Annabeth and all these other friends. I would definitely recommend this to you guys as a read, especially if you guys are going through a reading slump, or if you guys don't have that much time. These will help you get through it because they are that easy to read. They're not even that long. I think the thickest one would probably be the Battle of the Labyrinth, and even then I flew through that because of how fast paced the action was. So yes, that's going to be the end of my spoiler free review, but I hope you guys have a great day and I'll see you guys soon.